Hello everybody. Today we will be in Phoenix Journal number 3 and we'll be under chapter 4 and we'll reading parts out of it. And may go ahead and put this on the record. I'm not suicidal. I'm not mentally ill. Okay? And I'd recommend you look into some of these things because they are the truths that our government keeps from us. The Adjacent Society's Alternatives. Now, we will get into the alternatives as promised. By another secret executive order of President Eisenhower, the Jason scholars were ordered to study the scenario and make recommendations for actions from their findings. The Society confirmed the scientific findings and made 3 brilliant recommendations called Alternatives 1, 2, and 3. Alternative 1. Blast holes in the stratosphere with nuclear devices from which the heat and pollution could escape into space, and change the human cultures from that of exploitation into cultures of environmental protection. Note, of the 3, this was decided as the least likely to be accepted and succeed due to the inherent nature of human. And by the way, there might be additional damage due to the nuclear explosions themselves. Alternative 2. Build a vast network of underground cities and tunnels in which a select representation of all cultures and occupations would survive and carry on the human race. The rest of humanity would be left to fend for themselves on the surface of the planet. And for your information, China can house her population underground in this manner. Also, Switzerland has a massive underground facilities, and thus do many other countries. Yours just deals with the bigwig VIP population, called politicians, etc. And I'd recommend getting a bunker and looking into, I believe it's Phoenix Journal number 6. Alternative 3. Exploit the alien and conventional technology in order for a select few to leave the planet and establish colonies in outer space away from the mess. The U.S. would then select from volunteers in batch groups of consignments to do the manual labor. These would not be called slaves, but that would be the passport requirement. Let us see now locations. First would be considered Adam, code for the moon, and then followed by the planet Mars, codenamed Eve. And you once thought these planets uninhabitable? Sick. The interim tactics for delay action. All 3 alternatives included the following: enforced birth control, enforced sterilization, and the introduction of deadly microbes to slow or control the growth of Earth population. My beloved ones, your AIDS is only one visible and already active plan. And I put a video on Facebook about the vaccinations and the flu vaccines, I believe and it relates a lot to what they did with COVID. If you're interested in looking at that, there's a lot of mirroring going on there, because a lot of these journals were written back in the 90s. But it mirrors exactly what happened with COVID. It's just the second time they tried it. Or, who knows, probably my 3rd or 4th. There are others, which include low-frequency beams that cause mass depression. And the worst and most deadly is an effort to addict the population to all manners of drugs. And they pretty well have exceeded at this point, and they use their own towers against us. They knew what they were doing. It was decided, since the population must be reduced and controlled, that it would be in the best interest of human race to rid yourselves of the undesirable elements of your societies. Hey, don't blame Hatton, the writer of this. I didn't say it. The joint U.S. and Soviet leadership dismissed Alternative 1, but ordered work to begin immediately on Alternatives 2 and 3 simultaneously. By 1959, the Rand Corporation hosted a deep underground construction symposium. In the report thereof, machines were demonstrated which could bore a tunnel some 45 feet in diameter at the rate of 5 feet per hour. It also produced pictures of huge tunnels and underground vaults containing complex facilities and even what could be called cities. 5 years of all-out underground secret construction have produced significant progress. Perhaps it proves that secret workers work better than visible public workers, or perhaps the workers are assured a place to park their weary heads during the nuclear disaster. Funding via illegal drugs. Oh, and here comes one that really will produce some ouchies. The ruling powers decided that one means of funding the alien connection in other black projects. I didn't say that either, but beloved friends, the satanic forces without your planet are referred to as the Black Forces, or the Dark Brotherhood, or Dark Robes. So be it. Was the core of the illegal drug market. So a young, ambitious member of the Council on Foreign Relations was approached. His name, George Bush. He was at that time president and CEO of Zapata Oil Company, based in Texas. Zapata Oil was experimenting with the new technology in offshore drilling. It was correctly thought that the drugs could be shipped from South America to the offshore platforms by fishing boats, where it would then be taken to shore by the normal transportation used for supplies and personnel. By this method, no customs or law enforcement agency subjected the cargo to search. George Bush agreed to help and organize the operation in conjunction with the Central Intelligence Agency, otherwise known as CIA. Ring any bells? The plan worked even better than anyone had hoped. It has since expanded worldwide, and there are now many other methods sanctioned as ways of bringing the illegal drugs into the country. Heaven help you if you work outside the cartel, however. The CIA now controls all the world's illegal drug markets. Just remember, when you get on Mr. Bush's bandwagon to fight the war on drugs and war on poverty, Mr. George Bush began sale of drugs to your children. There just isn't any pretty way to say it, so let us just say it how it is. I, Commander Georgios Hatton, hereby want it known to anyone reading this document. It will come forth from 7 separate sources in almost identical format. It is useless to touch this author, for she is devoid of any information other than what I give her, the radio signal. I dictate, she writes. Then she goes aside and throws up. There will be allowed no more martyrs in the service of the Master Isu Jesus Sananda, who's returning in the quite near future to reclaim this planet, for your creator source. You can call it whatever you wish. Armageddon is quite suitable. Now, this is something that they're fixing to release, the CIA is fixing to release. We'll see if it matches up or not. It's about what happened with the Kennedy files. And this is the Kennedy ultimatum, and we're going to eventually get into the assassination. Enter President John F. Kennedy. The official space program was really boosted by President Kennedy in his inaugural address, when he mandated that the United States put a man on the moon before the end of the decade. Although apparently innocent in its conception, this mandate enabled those in charge to funnel vast supplies of money into black projects and conceal the real space program from the American people. A very similar program was in active workings within the Soviet Union and served the exact same purpose. In fact, a joint alien United States and Soviet Union base already exists on the moon, and at the very moment Kennedy spoke the words at the address. This might be hard for some to believe, but bear with me. On May 22nd, 1962, a space probe landed on Mars and confirmed the existence of an environment which could support life. Not long afterward, the construction of a colony on the planet Mars was begun in real earnest. And take another little thing in here, is we've been seeing through the JWST, James Webb Telescope, that some of these other planets do in fact have life. It's just, we don't expect to have life like ours, because we base our life off of the amount of thing that was light in our atmosphere. But they learned to live with the creation, as we should have. We keep trying to perfect this already perfect creation of God's. But today, friends, cities exist on Mars which are populated by specifically selected people from different cultures and occupations taken from all over Earth. Sound familiar? A public charade of antagonism between the Soviet Union and the United States has been mounted over all of these years in order to fund projects in the name of the national defense, when in fact you are the closest of allies. How else could you secretly funnel such immense outlays of funds? Whoops! Right along in here, President Kennedy discovered portions of the truth concerning the drugs and the aliens. He issued an ultimatum in 1963 to MJ-12. I believe it's called Majestic 12. He assured them that if they did not clean up the drug problem, he would most certainly would do it for them, and heads would roll. He informed MJ-12 that he intended to reveal the presence of aliens to the American people within the following year and ordered a plan developed to implement his decision. President John Kennedy was not a member of the Council on Foreign Relations and knew nothing of Alternative 2 or Alternative 3. Internationally, the operations were supervised by an executive committee known as the Policy Committee. In the United States, they were supervised by MJ-12, and the Soviet Union by its sister organization. President Kennedy's decision struck into the hearts of those in charge. His assassination was ordered by the Policy Committee, and the order was carried out by agents of MJ-12 in Dallas, Texas. Yes, dear ones, President John F. Kennedy, who was murdered by the Secret Service agent who drove his car in the motorcade. So he was murdered by his, I believe it was the front seat driver. If you notice, they don't have much footage up there anymore, and mostly don't have a good scene of that. But there was, look around even on the photo, on the images of it, there was plenty of people recording. Where are all those recordings at, you wonder? But hopefully here, they'll maybe release some of these without editing them first, if they haven't already. The act is plainly visible in the films of the murder taken at the scene that day. All the witnesses who were close enough to the car to see William Greer shoot Kennedy were themselves all murdered within 2 years of the events. You gotta cut all loose ends, right? Like I said, I'm not suicidal. Miss Kennedy has been spared only through intimidation and fear, and the assumption that she was so shocked that she mistook Greer as shooting at a suspect. The Warren Commission was a farce, and the Council on Foreign Relations members made up the majority of its panel. They succeeded in snowing the American people. Many other patriots who attempted to reveal the alien secret have also been murdered throughout the interviewing years, or, as we call them, conspiracy theorists, as we call them, or tinfoil hat wearing people. We got all these things in place for this. Make them look crazy. Best way to do it, is it not? Moon-based Luna. Let's speak about the moon. During the era of the United States' initial space exploration, the actual moon landings ever launched was accomplished by alien craft. I even accompanied some of those trips. A moon-based dubbed Luna was sighted and filmed by the Apollo astronauts. Domes, spires, tall round structures which look like silos, huge T-shaped mining vehicles which leave stitch-like tracks in the lunar surface, and extremely large as well as small alien craft readily appear in the photographs. It is a joint United States, Russian, and alien base. The U.S. space program is a farce and an unbelievable waste of money. Alternative 3 is a reality, and is not at all science fiction, as you might have believed. I mean, really look at, they got us doing the abortions for them, for Satan, really. Just like they used to do back in the day. And they got us sterilizing our kids, and they got you on birth control constantly, doing it to yourself, and got you taking vaccines, which who knows what's going to do to your kids and you later on. Lord help you if you took those vaccines, and I feel sorry for you that you were coerced into doing so. The Apollo astronauts were severely traumatized by this experience, and their lives and subsequent statements reflect the depth of the revelation, as well as the effect of the muzzle order, which followed immediately. Ye shall not speak of it. They were ordered to remain silent or suffer the extreme penalty, death, which was termed an expediency. One astronaut did actually talk to the British producers on the TV expos, Alternative 003, confirming many of the allegations. In the book Alternative 003, the pseudonym Bob Groden was used in place of the astronaut's true identity. It was also stated that he committed suicide in 1978. Well, Many of the facts in the book are truly placed within for disinformation purposes. They put as facts. The disinformation was thrust upon the authors intentionally in an effort to nullify the effect of the British TV expos. Brothers, the headquarters of the international conspiracy is in Geneva, Switzerland. The ruling body is made up of representatives of the governments involved as well as the executive members of the group known as the Bilderbergers. Meetings are held by the policy committee, when necessary, on a nuclear submarine beneath the polar ice cap. The secrecy is such that this was not the only method which would ensure that meeting could not be bugged. Well, the book is 75% truth, so it's well worth reading and protects these authors of this information. Please rush out and buy it. That is Alternative 003. The disinformation is purposeful and can be easily spotted. There are other documents which are false and should be hereby noted. One is the Eisenhower briefing document, which was revealed or released in the United States under the contingency plan Majestic 12. Or MJ-12. Through the aliens, you have been presented with some pretty good technology with nuclear thrust systems. No alien would be foolish enough to give you the real secrets. You are too dangerous, and they don't trust you one iota. You do, however, have craft which are capable of space journey, and do, quite regularly. You make trips into space. One lovely craft is named Aurora. It is berthed in Area 51 in Nevada. The ones made always a joke out of. They tried raiding. It is a one-stage ship called a Trans-Atmospheric Vehicle, TAV, T-A-V. And it can go into very high orbit from a 7-mile long runway. It can then return on its own power and land on the same runway. You also currently have a fly atomic powered alien type craft at Area S4 in Nevada. Your pilots have made interplanetary voyages in these craft and have been to the moon, Mars, and other planets in your system aboard the ships. You have been grossly lied to about the true nature of the moon, the planet Mars, Venus, etc., and have backed it up with lunar probe pictures, which one gets all excited about. There is a word I usually like to use in these instances, but my local audience thinks a space cadet should not use such language, so I'll do it for him. BS, otherwise known as bullshit. My dear friends, there are places on the moon where there's even plant life. It also has a few man-made lakes and ponds upon its surface, and we've even been told there's ice caps on there. And the clouds have been frequently observed and filmed. It possesses a gravitational field, and man can walk easily upon its surface without spacesuits, and breathing only requires some assistance with exertion, from an oxygen bottle following decompression, of course. In Dharma, I wish to speak of trouble in underground Mesa, so let us take a break that you can refresh. Salut, Haton to stand by. And like I said, if you want to hear the rest of this and some other things they're hiding from you, it's in the Phoenix Journals under phoenixarchives.com. And I would definitely suggest looking into it, even if it seems crazy to you. At this point, do you not believe your government would lie to you? Because they surely will, just like they did with the vaccine with you. It may seem like you had to, or else you're going to lose your job. Like, really just think about it, would you? Would you rather be lied to, or would you rather have the truth? And that's it for this video. Thank you.